All right, and I think we should be live. Welcome back to another live stream, everyone. It has been quite some time since we have been live. So let me just go ahead and see if everything is working because this, as you can see, is a brand new setup. Okay, beautiful. I can see everything right here. The chat is over here. So let's do this. Perfect. Okay, so guys, as you are tuning in, feel free to ask any questions you have about school, study tips, homework in the stream chat. And I see a bunch of messages coming in, though I see the chat is kind of small on my end. So let me go ahead and zoom in real quick. Let's do this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, perfect. I hope you guys can now see me just fine. What is up? What is up? We have Evelyn, Bo, Maven, Eternal 10, what is up, guys? Thank you for tuning in. How is everyone doing? We have Ishan, Sigma, Riz, Gamer. We have a lot of people in the chat today. What is up? What is up? What is up? How is everyone doing? Thank you so much for tuning in. Very excited to be here with y'all. Okay, so let me go ahead and open up the chat on this computer as well. And guys, this is going to be a live Q&A plus gaming session. So I have my brand new setup over here. We're going to be playing Stardew Valley today, which a lot of you guys recommended to me, and I think is going to be a pretty fun game. So let's just go open up our studio here. Let's go to our live stream and let me pop open this chat. Okay, perfect. So let's do this. Okay, so now I also have the chat on this screen. So I have the chat in two different places right now. How do you manage school and YouTube? Oh, that is super interesting. Okay, so you're doing both school and YouTube. I would say having some sort of calendar, some sort of organization system is critical. And here's my sort of life philosophy. You have to make time for the things you care about because it often feels like, that you don't have time for certain things or hobbies or extracurriculars. But the truth is, if you think really deeply about what you do every single day, and if you especially pay attention to your screen time, you will very much notice that you do have time for more things than you realize, including YouTube probably. And so just have a routine where, maybe after you finish your homework every single day, you work on YouTube from 6 to 8 or from 8 to 10, whatever works best for you. Okay, so let's do this. We have a lot of questions coming through. What is up? What is up? We have Rayon, Arjun, Aaron, Blue Blocks. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Someone said use your PC. Yeah, I'm using a laptop today, but this is a pretty decked out laptop actually. So for our gaming session today, this laptop has the NVIDIA RTX 5050 built in. And so it's kind of funny how we're only playing Stardew Valley. I feel like we could be playing Forza or a really intense game, but I kind of wanted to keep it chill today. So here, let's do this. And also, guys, we're going to be doing this live stream both on this channel and on Notion's channel as well. So let me go ahead and start the live stream on Notion's channel. Oh, okay, we have to go ahead and fix this real quick. Okay, we have lots of questions coming through. Oh, okay, there's a typo right here. 1 second. .youtube.com live. Okay. Okay, cool. And I think we should now be live on Notion's YouTube channel as well. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to today's live stream. We are doing a live Q&A for school, college, homework, whatever comes to mind. We're going to be doing a live gaming session. And then we are also going to be doing a rundown of Notion and how to use Notion to optimize your school year. And we're going to do a little demo of my own Notion template as well. And by the way, guys, a lot of you were DMing me for a free version of my Notion template, Scholar OS. I am very happy to announce that I do now have a free version of my Notion template. It's called Scholar OS Lite. It has most of the academic features, and you can access it by clicking on the link that is pinned to the stream chat. Okay, so now let's go back to the questions here. Gohar, who is your favorite superhero? I will have to say Spider-Man from my childhood. Was a huge fan. Okay, let's see. What questions do we have here? Computer science or engineering? I think it really depends on your personality. I mean, if you grew up being very hands-on, I think engineering is obviously a good fit. Computer science, especially when you study it in college, is a lot more theoretical than most students expect. So when you think computer science, you think that you're gonna be hacking or coding all day. The truth is you're just gonna be analyzing a bunch of algorithms and working on a lot of theoretical math rather than actual programming. So just be aware of that. Shout out to Arsh, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. Will the tech field die anytime soon? I do think AI is sort of disrupting the tech field in the sense that a lot of junior developers, maybe at certain startups or companies are, yes, being displaced. But I do think if young people today, if you guys today can learn how to use AI to build better programs, to build better tools, and to like augment and optimize your workflow, I think you will be in a safe position even as AI sort of, takes over lots of the tech space. Nostalgia, thank you for the super chat. Oh, I appreciate your support. Okay. What is your chess elo? I don't really play chess that much. I feel like I want to get into chess more. It seems like one of those games where if you learn how to play it, your brain just increases in size automatically. And I think in this world where a lot of us have our attention spans sort of dying out and we're very much on our phones all day, I think it is important to kind of challenge our brains, and chess seems like a great way to do so. Best Ivy League college. So MIT, by the way, guys, is not an Ivy League college, contrary to popular belief. If the question was favorite top school, I would have to say MIT. But in this case, best Ivy League college. I don't want to give like a generic answer here because, of course, it really does depend on who you are in terms of what you want to study, where you want to be, what you enjoy doing. But I will say that Harvard tends to be at the top of the rankings. And because both my brothers go there, I'm going to have to go ahead and say Harvard. Okay, guys, I have a quick question. Can you check the Notion YouTube channel, maybe one or two of you guys, and just tell me if the live stream is working there? If so, we are good to go. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and answer a couple more questions. Can I get into an Ivy League without taking calculus? Okay, so here's it's working there. Okay, awesome. Thank you for checking. Let's see. It's working, yes. Okay, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for letting me know. So someone said, can I get into an Ivy League if I don't take calculus? So if you're applying to an Ivy League school or top schools, what these schools want to see is that you have challenged yourself with the hardest courses available to you. If calculus is the hardest course available and you haven't taken it, then maybe that's going to be a slight red flag. But if your school does not have calculus and you don't have it on your resume, these Ivy League schools are not going to penalize you for that. So you are totally fine in that case. What AP class matters the least? I would say the AP classes that might not stand out the most on an application are the ones that are totally unrelated to your major, or maybe like the super easy ones. But to be honest, I'm assuming a lot of you are aiming for top schools, in which case just taking however many APs you can is a wise idea, while also being able to manage your extracurriculars. It's important that you have that school-life balance going on. How do I stop procrastinating? Okay, so procrastination is something that affects all of us. I think it really starts at the environment first and foremost, right? So if you are procrastinating, it's probably because you have access to a bunch of distractions around you. You have your phone, you have music playing, you have a bunch of stuff going on. Make sure you clean up your environment, declutter it, put your phone away, and create a space where you can genuinely lock in and focus for at least 30 minutes on whatever task you have at hand. I will also say that visualization helps a lot. Just imagine how you're going to feel if you finish the task in time and get to do whatever else you want to do that day. And then also visualize the opposite scenario where you procrastinate but then don't have time to do what you want to do. And hopefully that motivates you to get to it. Notion is working. Thank you for letting me know. So what do I do for the summer as a freshman? Are we talking high school freshman or college freshman? Are you aiming for diamond plaque? Our great world. Appreciate the question. It would be an honor to have the diamond plaque one day. We have the golden plaque behind us right here. We're at around 7.1 million subscribers right now, which is totally unreal. But if one day we get to 10 million subs, that would be a dream come true. Caleb, thank you for the super chat. Gohar, is it a bad idea to email a college to show demonstrated interest and explain circumstances? Also, do you respond to DMs? Thank you, go. First of all, thank you again for the super chat. Emailing a college for demonstrated interest is not a bad idea as long as you're not being too pushy and asking a genuine question. And then also, guys, demonstrated interest, let me just tell you quickly, some schools want to see that you have demonstrated interest in attending as they're evaluating your application. So if they see 2 students and they see one has demonstrated interest, for example, if they've gone to tours, if they've emailed the admissions office, if they've done stuff to show that they're serious about the school, that might give them a slight boost in the admissions process compared to someone who hasn't done any of that. But it is important to go to the common data set for the school to see if they actually look at demonstrated interest in the first place, because not every college does that. And let's see, to explain circumstances, I want to email them to explain circumstances. If you want to explain circumstances in your college application, go ahead and do so in the additional information section. And I do respond to a handful of DMs every day, but it's very hard to get to all of them. Should I submit a 34 ACT to Vandy? Yes, that is a great ACT score. Okay, going into freshman year, next year, any tips? So freshman year, are we talking high school or college? I'm gonna quickly I guess I'll give you advice that can apply to both. So freshman year is all about experimentation, joining a bunch of clubs quickly at first, but then cutting down to the 2 to 3 that resonate the most with you. Also figuring out a study routine that's optimal, building out study systems to help you stay organized. An example of that is Notion, which we're gonna go over very soon. And by the way, guys, my free Notion template is pinned to the stream chat. And then also making sure that you're not afraid to ask for help. I feel like when you start a new school, you want to seem smart, you want it to seem like you have everything figured out, but the truth is, the students who do the best are not afraid to be judged, and they will go out and ask questions to their teachers, to their peers during class, and I think that's a very important trait of successful students. Tech, thank you for the super chat. Love from India. I'm preparing for JEE Advanced. Good luck, that is a very tough exam. And I'm wanting to help me build a timetable that can help me study 7 hours, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. with travel. We are going to do that. You know what? That is a great question. I will help you do that in like 5 minutes here. Okay, let's see. What other questions do we have in the chat? Okay. Do you think uni is worth it for someone who is entrepreneurial? That is a great question. Yeah, so even if you want to start your own business one day and you don't want to work for a company or get a traditional job, I do think college is still very valuable because, first of all, many colleges have entrepreneurship centers or programs that are built to accelerate whatever ideas you have. At MIT, for example, we had, we had an entrepreneurship center that I used a couple times for help when starting my own company. I also think you have the network of people because when you go to college, you are now surrounded by very ambitious, bright people and lots of people who want to be entrepreneurs themselves. And so to be in a place where you can talk to them and maybe figure out ways to work together on companies or projects is a great position to put yourself in. What is the best memory technique for learning? So if you want to memorize dates, I think rhyming, like coming up with little rhymes is a very effective way. But at a higher level, there's something called the method of loci, I believe. And this is the way it works. If you want to memorize a bunch of vocab words or memorize a bunch of terms for an exam that you have coming up, imagine a space that you're very familiar with, and then imagine placing those items in different spots throughout the space. And so then when you're taking the exam, all you have to do is traverse that space in your head to figure out which items you have to recall for the test. So for example, if you want to do a test about the organelle, or if you're taking a test about cellular organelles, imagine placing the mitochondria on a shelf in your bedroom, and then ribosomes somewhere else, and then the endoplasmic reticulum could be in your closet, whatever it is. And so that way, when you're taking the test, all you have to do is just go back into your room and be like, oh, okay, the mitochondria is on top of my shelf next to the light, which means that it's a source of energy, right? Something like that. Okay. How to get into Stanford? Okay, Stanford, I'll quickly answer this maybe in 1 or 2 sentences. I think Stanford appreciates quirky students, people who are just very out there, I think is the correct word. Maybe more than 2 sentences. And what I mean by this is students who have a very unique or colorful component to their application, whether it's coin collecting, cartography, building video games, YouTubing. Mine was YouTubing, and I remember when I applied to Stanford and got in, my admissions officer wrote me a note saying she admired the channel that I had started. And so I do think that sort of helped me get in, if anything. Sid, thank you for the super chat. Gohar, can you give me advice about the SAT? Yes, of course. So the SAT is less a test of knowledge and more a test of knowing how to take the SAT itself. In other words, doing well on the SAT is more of a game than anything else because there are certain strategies that you can use to answer reading questions, answer math questions, shortcuts that you should be aware of, especially when it comes to using Desmos. I think one of the best free resources that you can use is Khan Academy, but if you're looking for a paid workshop, feel free to check out Next Admin. I run one through my business. Okay. What is the hardest engineering major? Aerospace engineering sounds about right to me, but you guys let me know your thoughts in the chat. Okay. Let's see, lots of questions coming through. How do I figure out what career to pursue? One piece of advice that I have is don't feel the pressure to figure it out right away, especially while you're in high school. You can figure out your career path even after you get into college because at many schools you don't have to declare your major up until the end of freshman year, and so you can use freshman year as a period to shop around classes or explore different clubs in fields that aren't related to your primary interest, and that can help you realize, hey, maybe I do want to pursue a career in finance instead of the arts or whatever it is. Not to say that that's a common thing, but it is helpful to use freshman year as an exploration period before locking in on a certain career path. Okay. Let's see, Ducky, thank you for the super chat. Will you someday make a video about study techniques related to MBTI personalities? By the way, you make great videos, keep it up. First of all, thank you so much. That is a very unique idea. Study techniques related to different MBTI personalities. I will note that down. That could be a potential video topic in the future. Okay, someone is asking about Notion and sort of the benefits of Notion. So let's go ahead and run through how Notion works. And I genuinely think Notion is one of the best tools that you can use to organize everything related to academics, but then also your personal life. It's a great way to organize to-do lists, your reading list, hobbies. I use it sort of as a central OS for everything in my life, truthfully. So I use it to manage all my content, all my business-related stuff, and I think it's such a flexible space and customizable space where you can use it to optimize almost every aspect of your academic career. And so if you guys haven't already, feel free to check out my Notion template. It is pinned to the stream chat, and this is a free version of my Notion template, Scholar OS. This is Scholar OS Lite, and if you guys don't know, Scholar OS has 3 hubs. It has the academic hub, it has the, let's see, let me actually just show you guys here. So let's go ahead and switch over to this mode. And let me show you guys how Scholar OS works and Notion more broadly. So here is a kind of a run through of what Notion is. Notion is this all-in-one workspace where you can build out your own custom dashboards for whatever it is you're working on and want to optimize. So for example, this right here, when you download Notion or when you create a Notion account, you will see a page like this that says Welcome to Notion. And it's very simple. You have these pages. Let me just go ahead and refresh this page quickly. And let me close out of this game in the background. Get back to that in just a second. Okay. So let me show you guys how this works. Okay, so this right here is how Notion works. You have pages where you can add tables, to-do lists, checkpoints, whatever it is you need. And it's very simple. All you have to do is in the page, type in / and then you'll see you have the option to add a bunch of blocks, they call it. So you have text blocks, heading blocks, bullet lists, to-do lists, quotes, and so much more. But the great thing about Notion is that they have templates. So when you create your Notion account, it's actually going to ask you, what do you want to use Notion for? And if you select you want to use Notion for your academics, you have the option to choose which pages you want to load into your Notion profile/workspace by default. So over here, for example, we have class notes and we have student planner. So let's go ahead and check those out. So this right here is a class notes organizer. And the beautiful part is Notion provides this by default. So for example, here we have the name of our class notes. And we start off by first listing off the class and then the lecture associated with that class. It automatically tells us when this set of notes was created, and then we can also apply tags so we know which class it's associated with. And over here we also have a student planner. So this right here, it's pretty similar to Scholar OS. It's a much simpler version of it, truthfully, but here you can organize everything related to your courses, your assignments, and even your extracurriculars. And so that's the beautiful part, because I'm assuming a lot of you guys have to-do lists or are using calendar apps, but they're very limited in scope, right? You don't have the ability to bring everything together in one place, but with Notion, you have the ability to have this one global view of all of your priorities. Oh, donations, let me go ahead and scroll up. I am so sorry for missing any of those. Okay, let's see. So I see one over here. Let's scroll up. Gohar, it's 2 a.m. here. Please, I'm very sleepy. Please, can you answer my question? Let me scroll up. Let me see. I answered one of your questions earlier, but let me see if I can catch another one here. Here, if you want to DM me your questions on Instagram, I'll do my best to keep an eye out and answer you there. But let's go ahead and quickly dive into this Notion walkthrough. So, as you can see up here, we have our courses. And this right here is a Notion table. And what a table does is it allows you to organize a bunch of pages in one place. So here, let's take a look. For some reason, my computer is lagging a little bit here. So let's see if I can fix this. Okay. So for example, if we click into Intro to Biology, what we have here is we have the course code, we have assignments and their associated due dates, and then we have quick links that are associated with the class. And so this way everything is organized and in one place. And so this way you don't have to do, keep notes in like different documents throughout your computer or have notes on your phone. It really centralizes a lot of what you have to focus on. And then if we scroll down here, we have the individual assignments. And what's really cool is that Notion is good about interconnecting all of your pages and databases. So let's say we want to create a new assignment. We can go ahead and click on the new button. And then let's go ahead and choose a course here. So let's go ahead and say general chemistry. And let's say this one is about, let's see, acids and bases. We can set the deadline over here. Let's say the deadline for this assignment is next week, and it is not done currently. So what's really cool about Notion is that although we added this assignment to this table over here, if we scroll back up and click on general chemistry, what you will notice is that it's added here automatically. And so that's the beautiful part, is not only do you have a lot of these data tables, but they're all connected. So this way you never miss any of your assignments or upcoming deadlines. And so now let's scroll down here. And you also have a place for your extracurriculars. So this is very simple. So if you want to create a new page or a new sort of separate workspace for your extracurricular, all you have to do is type in /page, click on it right here, and then you can just type in the name of the activity, like this. And then we can go ahead and add an icon, and we can do basketball right here. And so then over here, let's say, for example, we want to track our upcoming basketball practices. All we have to do is we could do /do table, and then let's see, once we do this with the table, all we have to do is type in, date, and then you can do practice number here and have any notes as well. And so ultimately you can customize this to your liking and add however many pieces of information that you need. But let me go ahead and show you guys now Scholar OS. And this is the Notion template that I ended up building from scratch. It took a lot of planning to really figure out how to optimize this for students of all grade levels. But I'm very excited to now, once again share that this template is free, or that there is a free version of this template now available. So if you go to the link that is pinned in the stream chat, you will see this page for Scholar OS Lite. And so you have 3 hubs in Scholar OS. You have the Academic Hub, the College App Hub, and the Life Hub. And so in Scholar OS, the Academic Hub is where you organize everything related to your academics. The College App Hub is where you organize everything related to your college applications. And then the Life Hub is for everything else. For example, your workouts, things you want to read, your finances as well. And so with Scholar OS Lite, you have unlimited access to the Academic Hub. So all you have to do to access this is go up here and click on Get Template. And then once you do that, it'll take you back to the workspace and it'll say, where would you like to add Scholar OS Lite? And so then you can just go ahead and choose the workspace you want to add it to, and then click on Add to Private. And so then within about a minute or so here, the template will automatically be added to your Notion workspace. Okay, so there we go. It is now adding it to our workspace, and perfect. So Scholar OS is now ready. And at the bottom, you're also going to see a message that says this. So now if you click into Scholar OS Lite, this is what you should see. Perfect. And let's go ahead and do this. Here, are we able to switch to light mode here? Let me just go ahead and do that quickly. Yeah, let's do that so that way the widgets look proper. Perfect. Okay. So this right here is the dashboard for Scholar OS Lite. And if you want to get started with it, we have a simple tutorial video that walks you through the entire template. Right over here, I'm going to go ahead and show you a little preview of what you can do with this. So in your dashboard, this is like your central view where you have all of your information in one place. So you have a calendar. There's this little widget over here that shows you how much of the year is done, how much of the week is done, month is done, and so on. There's a Spotify playlist available. And then you have your to-do list, your centralized to-do list, and then your centralized calendar. And so what's great about these two components here is that these bring in information from across the template into one place. So although you have these different hubs, the Academic Hub, the College App Hub, and the Life Hub, this brings together everything you need to know and be aware of at a high level. So let's go over here to, let's see, a sample month. So for example, this is what it'll look like. Once you have a bunch of assignments coming up, if you scroll down to your calendar, you'll see all of the upcoming due dates and whether or not these certain assignments are complete. And then same thing with the to-do list. You'll see all of your tasks along with what category they fall into and when they are due. And then what's cool about Notion is that you can also add separate views to these tables. So for example, if you want to see just your assignments, you can click on this Assignments tab. If you want to see just your exams that are coming up, just click on your Exams tab. And then you have one for study sessions, and then you also have another one for your extracurriculars. And then for your to-do list up here, I also added several views. So yes, you can see all of your tasks that are due today, but then you can also sort by deadline, by priority, and you can also see tasks by category and which ones are completed. And so now let me go ahead and bring you guys into the Academic Hub. Perfect. Okay, so this is the Academic Hub for the Notion template, and this is where you can organize everything related to school. So up here, the first thing you'll notice is that we have a section for our classes. So we have history, math, and psychology added, and if you want to add a new class, it's as simple as clicking on this blue New button, or clicking on New Page. Then down here, we will see our class schedule. So once you add a class, here's what will happen. You have the ability to add a bunch of information associated with that class. So the teacher email, the location, the semester, your current grade in the class, and then you can also add blocks of time for your class schedule. So for example, this class I have from 2 to 3 p.m. on Monday, 4 to 5 p.m. on Wednesday, and 3 to 4 p.m. on Friday. And then once you add these blocks of time to your class schedule, it will automatically populate in this window over here. So this way you can see your schedule day by day for the entire week, which is very convenient. Then if we go down to the next section of the Academic Hub dashboard, you'll notice that all of your assignments, exams, and flashcards are also in one place. And right over here, all we have to do is adjust by date to kind of bring in some assignments. But if we click on overdue, as you can see, some of these default assignments that I added to the template are here right now. And you can see all of the assignments that are upcoming, that you haven't completed yet, and that you have completed. And then let's scroll down to the exams section here. So same thing over here. So with the exams, you can see all of your upcoming exams, all of your past exams, and then you can see a calendar view of everything in one place. And then down here, you can see flashcards. So with individual classes, we've also added the ability to add flashcards that allow you to study common terms right from the dashboard. And here's how it works. This flashcards module implements spaced repetition. So for example, let's say we want to study the word urbanization. We see the word in our head, we can define the word, and then we can click on show once we have done so. And then we can compare what we defined it, we can compare our internal definition with the actual definition, and if it's correct, we move it to box 2. If not, we just keep it right here and review it again the next day. And so what you'll see is when you drop a flashcard from box 1 to box 2, what's going to happen is that vocab word is going to disappear. And that's because it is not time to review that vocab word yet. So when it is time to review that vocab word again, it will appear in box 2, and then you just repeat the cycle. And so this system right here implements spaced repetition for all of your vocab terms. Perfect. Okay, and now we can check out the sidebar. So to make things as convenient as possible, we have a quick action section here. So if, for example, let's say you're in lecture and you have to start taking notes for one of your classes, instead of clicking into the class and scrolling over to the notes section, all you have to do is click on New Note and just start typing away at for whatever you're learning. So let's go ahead and show you that. Click on New Note, this window will pop up, and then you can just type in what the notes are about. You can select what kinds of notes you're taking. So for example, if you're using the outline method, if you're taking Cornell notes, or if you're blurting, you can capture that here. And then you can also define the class and the unit that the notes are for. And now the beautiful part about this template, this notes template, is that we have AI summaries integrated. So once you finish taking your notes in this document here, this page will create a summary of what your notes are about. So for example, here we can just type in a bunch of notes, sample notes about biology. And then, we could just do, maybe the notes are about osmosis. Perfect. And then you can just select, all the appropriate properties here. Beautiful. And so then we've also created quick actions for other types of pages as well. So we have notes, we have assignments, we have exams, and then we also have study sessions. And so same thing here. If you want to log a due date for an upcoming assignment, just click on New Assignment here. If you want to log the date for an upcoming exam, click on New Exam. And same thing for your study sessions. And then finally over here in the navigation, we have our classes view, notes, assignments, exams, flashcards, study planner, which are pretty self-explanatory. But what I want to show you guys also are these few pages down here. So we have something called the study room, which is where this is a space where you can go to whenever you want to study. So for example, in the sidebar here, we have a pre-study checklist that's already made for you guys. So for example, declutter my desk, close unused browser tabs, prepare snacks and water. So before you start any study session, head to this page, go through this checklist in the sidebar, and then just create a new study session up over here. And this way you can define, how long the study session is supposed to be and what topics it's supposed to focus on. And then once you create the study session, we have a timer and a playlist over here on the side that you can use to stay focused. And once you are done, all you have to do is drag the study session from today's study sessions to completed study sessions. And it's as simple as that to organize them all in one place. Perfect. And then another special page that I want to show you is AI prompts. So Notion AI is a powerful tool that can allow you to summarize a lot of, so it can allow you to take a lot of actions, a lot of unique actions related to your notes pages. So for example, let's say you take a bunch of notes about, let's say osmosis again. You can then use Notion AI to summarize those notes. You can use Notion AI to create flashcards for those notes. You can also use it to create a study schedule. So for example, if you have a bunch of notes in one place, what you can do is ask Notion AI to figure out the optimal study schedule for an upcoming exam, let's say in 1 week. And then it'll break down when you should study for certain topics and how long you should study those topics for, and maybe even suggest how you should study for those certain subjects. So let's go ahead and look at an example. So let's say we open up Pythagorean theorem applications. Or let's see if we have some, sorry, this is the assignments. Let's go ahead and open up some sample notes. Let's go to our notes page over here. So perfect. So we have a bunch of notes, and let's say we want to generate some questions for, let's say, one of these history notes. Okay, so this set of notes right here is about the causes of the American Revolution. So if we go ahead and open up this page, we have an AI summary of our notes here. And then we can also ask Notion AI to create a study guide for us. Let me show you how simple this is. So let's make sure we have a proper view of this. So right down here in the corner, what you'll notice is Notion AI. And Notion recently released something called agents. So agents are very powerful in that they not only can answer your questions, but they can also take actions in your Notion workspace, meaning they can add points, they can build tables, and they can help you create a system that's optimal for your study routine. So let's say we have these notes right here about the causes of the revolution. As you can see, this context is added to this Notion chat over here. And then all we have to do is say, create a study guide. Let's see. Based on these notes about the American Revolution. And so then once we chat into the AI here, a Notion agent will go in and then build out the study guide for us. So let's go ahead and take a look. As you can see, this is updating study guide page, and there we go. Within seconds, we already have a study guide about our notes here. This is incredible. It happens all so quickly. And there we go. Look at that. So now we have a study guide based on our notes. And the great thing is, it doesn't just summarize them. For example, it starts by first of all telling us what are the big ideas that we have to understand. And so that sets us up for just a conceptual understanding of what the exam might be about. Then the next section is about key terms and acts. So this right here, it defines key events, key terms that we should be aware of. If we scroll down, now it does people and ideas. One section below that, we have events and turning points. We have cause and effect chains. And then finally, it even has practice questions at the end. And so it really creates a comprehensive study guide that you can use to deeply understand the concept, starting from the high-level understanding, moving on to the specific terms and events and dates, and then at the end, you can run these practice questions to test your understanding. And that is a beautiful way of how ScholarOS and Notion agents can work together. So as you're creating your notes, all you have to do is turn to a Notion agent and have it create a study guide based on your notes before your exams. And let's go ahead and look at another example of that actually. So if we head back to the Academic Hub here, let's see. Let's say we go to this set of notes that touches upon the Industrial Revolution. So once again, we have our AI summary. And one other thing that I want to show you is actually in this chat over here. So in addition to setting this page itself as your context, you can also add files to the chat. So for example, let's say you're taking notes about a certain topic. What you can also do is drop in the syllabus and then ask Notion to take in that context when generating your study guide or generating practice questions for that set of notes. Perfect. And so let me show you that in action actually. So let's go to our notes page. And what we'll do is I have a syllabus for a biology course on this computer. So let me show you how we can go ahead and create a study guide from scratch just based on a syllabus. So if we go to our notes here, let's minimize this for now. Let's go ahead and click on New. Okay, so then let's just type in biology here, biology study guide. Okay, let's refresh this page here and set this up. Okay. Biology study guide. Perfect. And so then we can go to our agent here. We can just drop in our syllabus. And then let me show you what's special about Notion agent. So in addition to just typing in bullets and text, it can also use special blocks in Notion. So here's what we'll do. We'll say, let's make a study guide for this course. Make sure to include a lecture notes database with each week's topics. And let's send that through. Okay, so as you can see, we have nothing here to begin with. We are starting from scratch, and what Notion Agent is going to do is it's going to parse the syllabus, and let's see what it creates. Look at that. In seconds, we have the course information and course overview filling in. We have a grading breakdown. The next section, it captures all the required materials. And let's just give it maybe a couple more seconds to finish up this generation here. But this is really cool because building out your own Notion template, especially if you've never used Notion before, it can be a little bit intimidating at times. But with Notion Agent, you can get started right away and seamlessly. All right, there we go. Notion Agent is working its magic right now. And now it's creating individual pages based on what it sees in our syllabus here. Perfect. Here, I kind of want to surprise ourselves here. I don't even want to scroll through while it's generating. But this is honestly one of the coolest, just overall study tools that you can use to excel as a student. And there we go, it's done. So it says, I've created a comprehensive study guide for your Principles of Biology 1 course. Here's what I included: a main study guide page, and then also a lecture notes database with 14 sessions organized by week, showing topics covered each session, relevant textbook chapters, and important assignments. So let's go ahead and see. We have course info, course overview, we have our grading breakdown, and notice how it didn't just create a bulleted list with the grading breakdown. It created this beautiful table that makes it very easy to see everything right away. Then we have our required materials down here, our co-curricular activities, and then we have our lecture notes by week. Just look at this. It did this automatically just based on the syllabus alone. So here we have all of the notes for our different sessions this semester. It also marks down what assessments are associated with each session, the chapters, the topics, and then the week as well. And so this gives you a great starting point just to have one place to organize all of your notes and assignments related to any class that you are taking. This is incredible. And so that gives you a high-level overview of both ScholarOS Lite as well as Notion AI. And so if you're looking for a way to organize your academics, your extracurriculars all in one place, I would say using these two tools together is the best way to streamline everything that you're working on and to hopefully excel as a student and get even better grades. Because I think one of the best things that you can do, especially if you're a freshman or going into high school or college, is to set yourself up with a system that can help you succeed throughout the year and then also for the upcoming years. So this is a system that, once you use freshman year, you can build upon as you have new classes, as you have new extracurriculars, and it acts as a central spot to organize everything you need. Okay, perfect. And so now with that said, let's move back to a Q&A. So now that you guys have seen like a preview of both ScholarOS as well as Notion AI, feel free to ask any questions you have about both of these features in the chat, and I'll go ahead and do my best to answer as many questions as I can. Can it generate practice questions? Yep, it can. So we actually used it to generate practice questions just a couple minutes ago. So we had some sample notes in the Academic Hub here. Let's go back to it, where it generated some sample multiple choice questions as part of a study guide. So let's go back to our notes here. Let's go back to causes of the revolution. And then let's scroll down to the study guide section that it generated. Perfect, so we have these multiple choice questions here. So as you can see, we had notes at the top of the document, and then we asked Notion AI to generate a study guide, and then it went ahead and also generated some practice questions for us. And if, for example, you only wanted to generate practice questions, you can also just ask it to do that if you don't need the other parts of the study guide. Okay, any other questions in the stream chat? We're going to go ahead and answer a couple more here. Okay, let's see. Can you provide a checklist? Can you add a checklist for every day? Yep, so if you go to the dashboard for ScholarOS Lite, what you'll notice is that you have a centralized to-do list slash checklist for everything you need. So for example, let's go to today. And so a really simple way of just having a simple checklist, if that's all you need, is you just go to this to-do list here, click on new, and then you can add whatever new task it is you have to complete that day. So let's say we have take out the trash, and then we can add a category. Let's see. We can go ahead and do personal, and then we have our date as today. Is this sponsored by Notion? Yep, we're partnering with Notion, though also Notion is a tool that I've been using for the past, I would say, 3 years. I've been using it since 2022 to organize everything related to my life. It is by far my most favorite productivity tool there is. Okay, so what other questions do we have? How do I get ScholarOS Lite? So the link is pinned to the stream chat. You can also find it in the description of the live stream. Let's see, what other questions? Oh, and by the way, the stream chat is on like this teleprompter in front of me, which is why I'm like staring so intently at you guys. But let's see, what other questions do we have here? What languages does it support? Notion supports multiple languages. I'm not sure what the full range is, but you can definitely find it on the Notion website. Perfect. Any other questions about the Notion template or about Notion AI? We're more than happy to demo more features of ScholarOS. Okay, perfect. So I think we went ahead and covered a lot of what Notion has to offer. But the truth is, this right here is just a starting point. And once you get ScholarOS Lite, feel free to customize this as you see fit. As you learn more about how to use different Notion features and how to use Notion AI optimally, feel free to rearrange these components, create new hubs as well, and personalize this so it's optimal for you and your own workflows, because that's what's most important. This right here is supposed to serve as a starting guide, as something that you can use to, sort of initiate your study system. But then over time, what you'll find is that you'll be moving things around, you'll be adding new pages, you'll be using new features, so that this way you can get everything you need to get done on time, and at the same time get the highest grades you possibly can. Is it free? Yep, Notion is free, and so is ScholarOS Lite. And you can get started by checking out the link in the description. Perfect. Okay, guys, this was a wonderful walkthrough. Thank you so much again for Notion for partnering with me on this live stream. This was a really fun demo. And once again, ScholarOS is just something I wish I had back when I was in school. I built this over the course of, I think it was about a month and a half to 2 months, trying to figure out what features I thought were the most optimal for students all across the board in every single grade level. And so if you have any questions about how to use this template, feel free to DM me on Instagram. My handle is GoHarsGuide. I'm more than happy to answer your questions there. And be sure to let me know how ScholarOS works for you. I would love, love, love your feedback. And I want to make this template as useful and as practical as I can for students all around the world. Perfect. And with that, guys, we'll be doing more live streams throughout these next few weeks. And so once again, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, but I hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much for tuning in.